Hey guys, welcome back here to my channel and today to another showcase video for the challenge that was set for September. It was a RMC coaster map that was designed by Dan over on Discord, and it was a really cool little map. I'm really sorry that this video has taken so long to get together and put online. I've just been having a lot of things going on, one of them being moving house, and just haven't found the time to sit down and actually put the video together and do a voiceover and that kind of thing. So I'm trying to get to it today. The coaster was very cool. It's very reminiscent of the, RMC coasters that are out there in the world with the outward bank curves, the zero G rolls, the stalls, that kind of thing. So it was a really nice coaster. It was a narrow, long map, so it was very interesting to play with. And it was your job, of course, to theme it up and do whatever you like with this coaster and the map, as long as you stuck to the rules. And yeah, there were some great entries. Can't wait to get into them and show you those. At the end of this video, I will show you what I did as well. I did have a little bit of time at the beginning of the month, last month, where I could actually build something. It's not my best work, I must say. I didn't spend loads of time on it, but I did put something together. So without further ado, let's get into the entries. So in no particular order, first up here we have 999 Ghosts with Expedition Seaside. And obviously we've got a bit of a coaster here that's going through some different changes within the landscape, and it's quite interesting to look at. We obviously got like the beachy area at the end here with the blueness and the little pier, and then we go back with the sand into the trees, that kind of thing. So it's a nice little idea. I have seen something similar to this before with the different kind of changes in kind of scenery or seasons, that kind of thing, going out throughout the map. And there is another map similar to this one this month as well. But I like what you did. I like that you kind of split it up into little sections there and tried to make something a little bit more interesting to look at. There are some details maybe throughout this that are a bit missing for me. Maybe with just some of the coaster kind of supports, might have had some more kind of supporting coming off the sides and things. But there are some nice little buildings here, especially in the kind of sandy coloured area here with these nice little, what I want to say, kind of Moroccan style buildings. And then going over here inside the forest area, I feel like the station could have had a little bit more detail to it. It's very boxy with the corrugated iron all the way around it. So maybe different shades of colour on there would have been quite nice to kind of break it up a little bit. I also like the little custom sign there for the bar and restaurant with the kind of nice rock work there. I actually really like this blue kind of grey bluish rock work there with all that red foliage. Quite a nice little combination you've got going on there. It's kind of alien looking. I quite like it. Yeah, here's the other end. There's all the blue rides on the kind of ocean part of the map. I would like to see some of the areas look a little bit more tidy, a little bit few more details here and there. But I think you did a good job of putting something together, and I really appreciate you taking part. And thank you for sending that one in to me. So next up here, we had a map by Pacific Rim, and we've got some nice little color schemes going on here. I love that dark bluish purple. I'm really terrible with blues and purples, so I can't really tell sometimes. But I think it's purple, I'm not sure, but they've got those nice purple supports. We've got the track on there as well, which is also different coloured. We've got this huge kind of two dinosaurs. I think they're like T-Rexes there, one either end. We've got some buildings going throughout there as well, and a nice little snow theme going on. Not a whole lot to look at here on this map. I would like to have seen some more details. Some cool like snow-covered trees or something would have been quite nice to go with this one. But I like what you've put together here. I like the use of colours. I think those nice little kind of icy cold blues go well with the purple supports or blue, whatever colour they are. And there's little red buildings as well. Again, the buildings are a little bit blocky, and I would like to have seen some more details on those. Maybe some windows, some barn doors or planters, that kind of thing. Some lights hanging off them, maybe a few signs, etc. would have been quite nice as well. But I like that you've moved the terrain up and down there so that the track kind of follows the terrain a little bit to kind of get rid of those horrid in-game tunnels that we don't like. And we've got some paths here as well, weaving in and out of the support structure as well. Great little build. Thank you for sending that one in to me. I really do appreciate you taking part as well. And next up here we have the map by Users Gaming, and this one really reminded me of the three monkeys from Roller Coaster Tycoon. I think that's what it was called. It could have been called something else. Please correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. But basically you took the coaster that was provided and added a few more coasters to that coaster to create this epic dueling or multi-dueling coaster layout here. I do think it takes it away from the main coaster itself a little bit, but I do like some of the coaster elements that you've added in there, especially like the yellow coaster here. It's got this kind of bow tie element thing going on around the bottom of the drop there, which is really nice. And yeah, it's really clever how you've managed to weave in all those coasters in and out of each other there. I do think some of the other coaster layouts here are a little bit unrealistic in comparison to the coaster that was already there. Like this purple coaster here has a really sharp curve with some very long straight banked sections, etc., which you just wouldn't really see on a real life coaster. But I can appreciate that you tried to kind of weave in 4 coasters basically into such a small space there. But from doing so, I do feel like the detail has been lost within the coaster that was provided, like maybe some extra supporting that could have been added onto it. Instead, we've just got this huge massive track, which is really cool to look at and really fun to watch, don't get me wrong. Yeah, some of the focus was taken away from the coaster within the theming aspect of the challenge. But like I said, I do appreciate that you managed to squeeze in all these coasters. The station building again as well, kind of square and blocky, nothing really too interesting to look at there. Would have been nice to have it maybe themed. Maybe the 4 coasters could have had like a different like a sub theme of a main theme or something, and they could have been battling it out or something, and the station could have been like, you know, themed into what you were doing. I don't know, but I really appreciate what you did as well. Next up here we have a map by Drokos, and this is Team Rocket, I believe. And yeah, like I said, this is very similar to the first map we looked at, how it's been kind of split up into a few little sections, or that it appears that way anyway. And this one, there is really a lot to look at. I think this one would have maybe benefited a little bit from kind of removing some of the theming, because sometimes it can become a little bit cluttered and there's too much to look at, and you get distracted from what you're really trying to look at. And some of those really cool golden nugget pieces of theming that you've built kind of get, you know, the attention taken away from them with some of the other stuff. But there are some really nice little things in here that I'm going to show you that I really like. Like I said, there's a little bit too much going on in some areas. It is distracting for the eye. So there are some cool little pieces of theming throughout here. We've got some Pokemon stuff going on there, some cool little billboards everywhere. Along the map there's quite a few little like bars and stalls and games, that kind of thing. Lots of things to look at, which is quite cool. Very interesting map to explore. Got a little candy area here as well. Definitely reminds me of like Blackpool Pleasure Beach in the way that everything is kind of cramped together. I've got these little themed areas, got a few rides that are kind of on top of each other. It's giving me that kind of vibe, that kind of feeling with this one. So in the middle here, of course, we've got Team Rocket, which is this little purple area. I really like the kind of rocket with the sign and everything there on the side of the coaster. I think that's really cool, with the drop tower with the rocket on as well. I like how that is all tied in together. Here we've got another little, I think it's a Pokemon area, which is cool. We've got this Wing Beers sports bar there, which is really nice as well. I kind of like how that is elevated up. The coaster itself could have had a few more details on there, I think. And also, I'm not really keen on like the color changes throughout the track that kind of happen so drastically, going from green to blue, that kind of thing. More of a gradient maybe would have been quite nice if you wanted to change color on the track. But I know what you were going for here. Nice to see some lighting here as well at night time. It's definitely lit up very well. And yeah, great job on this one. I think you did a great job. Well done. Next up here we have, I like the name, TRON JAVOLTA, and this is Maverick the Escape. And obviously this is more, again, a second one this month. A snowy theme, which is nice to see. We've got some trigger effects there, got fire going off, that kind of thing. Got some cool clouds in there that have been custom made as well, that are kind of circling around certain areas to kind of give the illusion that the coaster's up in the atmosphere, so that's quite nice. Got some nice terrain work as well here, lots of rocks and lots of kind of different terrain changes in the terrain height. There is like a severe lack of supports on this one, so I don't know if maybe you were going for the theme that the track is floating because it's in the sky, or whether you just didn't like them and removed them. I'm not really sure what the kind of logic was there, but there definitely is, like especially on the lift hill anyway, there's definitely like a lack of supports. It just seems to be a lot of the track is floating, which I'm not really a big fan of, to be honest. It's not my favorite aesthetic when it comes to these kind of parks and challenges. But if that's what you're going for, then I do apologize. There's some nice theming here. I like this little bit with the pipes and the barrels and everything, or the tanks I should say. That's really, really nice. I like that. And again, like all the different clouds and stuff I said about, which look really nice. I really love the terrain work here with the little trees and everything. I think it looks really lovely. Just some supports in there would have just really finished that off for me. But yeah, so we can see inside the building here, which is really nice as well. I like it when people do kind of like a building but have it a little bit open so you can see inside, see some of those details that they've put in there. So that's really nice to see. And again, like I said, some nice triggers in there as well. And that really makes the map just a little bit more atmospheric, lots of things going on, more fun to look at when you're doing it. So it's great. It's very important when you're building these maps to think of like, you know, some triggers, maybe some lighting when it's dark. It just really adds the extra little nugget of detail onto these maps, or onto these challenges, I should say. But yeah, another great map. I really like some of the little details here with the truck and the little tunnel there with some of these parked cars and stuff, so that's really nice. Here is a little look at nighttime as well. So on those kind of pathed areas, we have got some warm path lighting going on. We'd like to have seen maybe some cool blue lighting on the actual coaster track itself. That would have been nice. But a great little map. Well done as well for sending that one in to me. Next up here, we have a map by DASSEMAKKER. This one's got a kind of like a medieval theme, and I really like it. It's got some really nice details within this map, and I think he did a fantastic job at kind of laying it out, putting it together, making it look really complete and like an actual slice of a park, which I really like. I love it when the dioramas look like a slice of cake taken out of a bigger picture. And I like the water running around the back and the kind of full length pathing that you've got going across the front of the map. That's really cool to see. I really like that. And the drop tower there at the side, I think, is a nice little touch. It really reminds me of Scream from Heide Park in Germany. The way it's got that round building at the bottom and the way you kind of go up to it. It's on like a higher level to the actual path. That's really nice. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's got some nice details in here. Lovely foliage. I think the foliage is just really pretty, nicely put together. The rock work as well is just splendid. Like the way it looks, and it's all kind of put up against the side of the water there. It's really nice. The purple track looks really great as well. I love the purple with the wooden supports against the foliage. I think that looks really nice. Again, some more really nice rock work in the middle there. So I can see there's been a lot of attention to detail put into this one. And the buildings in this one, there's not loads of buildings, but the buildings that are there, like the station building and the one that's around the drop tower, are really well put together, so that's nice to see. So here we got the little station flyover section, which is nice, coming over the exit path of the coaster, which is also really cool. The actual domed kind of round building there above the station, and the actual brake run is awesome as well. And the kind of, just think it looks really cool, especially with those archway brickwork there going across the path. The hardest part of this map was custom supporting the dive loops. I think you've tackled that really nicely there with some wooden supports. So that's really nice. I like the near miss there with the kind of rocks kind of coming over the track. It's also really cool to see. And yeah, this kind of, I just love this roof around the drop tower. It looks so cool. It just looks really amazing. I love that. Yeah, it's a really great map. Here's a little look at nighttime as well. So we've got some green lighting over there, lots of red lighting lighting up some of the buildings, which is nice. And then of course just some standard kind of path lighting there. Great map, really well put together. I can really appreciate all the little details that you put into that one, so thank you. Next up here we have a map by Wackiest, and this is fantastic. It's a great map. I just think it's very similar to a map that we already have this month, and it's also something that I've seen quite often as well, so it's nothing new for me, but I do think you've done it incredibly well. I love the kind of style of the buildings. I can definitely see who's inspired you with this map, but I think you've executed it really well. The rock work is just exceptional, and the buildings as well they look really cool. So I can really appreciate this map as well. It's got some fantastic details in there, and can't wait to get in a little bit closer and show you now. So here we've got a nice little station building there, again with a nice station fly through there going over the top of the actual building, and kind of through that little roof there that's kind of coming out. It's really nice. I like this little building here as well, which is underneath the 0G store. It looks really nice. And the rock work around here as well has been very nicely done, especially using all the cylinders and discs to kind of create those different levels of different slightly coloured shades of rock there. Yeah, the terrain work is fantastic. All these little bits of rock buried in there with the plants and everything. It looks really nice. I would like to have seen maybe some sort of supporting added on, especially on the dive loop, which would have been nice. In some other areas as well, just to kind of add to what was already there, just to kind of up the ante on the coaster detail. But the scenery detail here is just exceptional. The station here as well, really nice. We've got this cool little, this is the back of the building, and we've got these cool kind of industrial things going on over the pipes and the tank and everything, which is nice. And I do really like how you've kind of buried the pathwork there with some of the, I believe it's the burial mounds. which makes the path just look really like more organic, like it's naturally flowing through there, and I love the look of that, so that's really, really nice. I like the color scheme and everything as well that you've used here. I'm not the biggest fan of the color of the train with the multicolored cars, but that's just personal taste, I guess. So yeah, but I really, really love it. I think you've done a fantastic job. Here's a little look at nighttime as well. Some more lighting would have been nice, especially like on the lift hill. Maybe some lights going up the lift, or some spotlights kind of shining up in different colors, or like a nice red or something. But the actual just general pathing there with the general street lights is really, really cool. So that was amazing. So in at third place here, we have a map called Crystal City. This was a collaboration, and it's really fantastic. I love some of the details in here. This one has gone with more of like a Scandinavian theme, which you can see throughout some of the buildings, and the color scheme that's been used. The tones of color that are used throughout the buildings really kind of relate to that kind of Norway kind of style, I want to say, or like Swedish, you know, just Scandinavian in general. It's really, really nice. I like some of the details within this one, which we'll get into in a minute. I love the little boat kind of dockyard area at the top there, and then we've got this little Scandinavian village in the middle. So let's get into some of the buildings at close up. So like I said, some of the buildings here are really nice. They've got some nice Scandinavian color going on with the kind of woodwork in different directions, lots of windows, that kind of thing. I like some of the textures on the roofs, and that some of them are going in different directions, and the gathered up snow as well on those are quite some nice little details that are added in there. We've got some custom supports as well, as you can see the big footers there at the back, and then we've got some other little details like the shipping containers with the go-karts that are kind of going around here at the bottom of the dockyard area. And the ship here is really, really cool with all the containers on there. We've got the container mover crane things there as well. And the kind of industrial style that's going on at this side of the map is really, really awesome. I have to say that I found it quite a difficult map to actually fill, because I thought it was quite large. There was a lot going on, there was a lot of track, but you really managed here to actually fill in every inch of this map with something. And it's not just random, just to fill a gap. It really feels like it all works together and it fits in really nicely. The only thing I'm not really a fan of is the color of the train. I know it's just like a personal preference thing. I just think the white train looks a bit, I don't know, meh. Maybe like a dark burgundy red would have been nice. But again, that's just like kind of my personal taste when it comes to those type of things. So I'm not going to like take points off you for this map just because your train was white or anything. I like this little kind of watchtower building there as well. That's really nice. Some nice little details on these buildings as well, like the little kind of slidey door there. Got some vents, and all the windows on that one look really cool, and all the drain pipes and everything as well. We've got these little towers as well with lighting on them. Here's a little look at nighttime. So we've got some nice kind of crystal blue colors on the lift hill there, which is nice, and then just some nice warm kind of lantern colors, if you will, in some of the more kind of village town areas. Great map, really well put together. I could really appreciate the work that you two put into that one, so thank you. So in at second place here, we have a map by COASTERB Gaming. I really loved this one. I thought it was really well put together. The only thing I didn't really like is the little backdrop wall around the back, but I do know why it's there. It's kind of just to add to the feel of this being a diorama. But I love this kind of look from this side looking in, and it's just fantastically done. I love the style and what you've done with some of the areas and the buildings, and I think the foliage is fantastic as well. It's really, really great. So first up, we've got this cool little church building here on the left, which I think is just incredible. And then in the middle here, we've got this really cool kind of like archway water feature, which actually the coaster passes through with a water wheel bridge underneath, which is also really nice to see. And then we kind of come into this little village area, which has been so well put together. The station building itself is fantastic, and the kind of buildings around it complement it so nicely. The building here on the far right, I think it looks amazing with like the ivory going up it and everything. It really reminds me of like some of the buildings from Diagon Alley in Harry Potter. So that's really, really nice. And the color of the track, it's not my favorite color there, but I think it looks nice. It definitely fits in with the other tones that you've used throughout the map. And then obviously in more of the kind of sparse areas, we've filled it up with some trees and foliage there. Different types of trees, different shades of greens as well, which is nice. And I just think that looks really, really awesome. Here's a little closer look at the actual station building there, and I just think it looks fantastic. The detail that's gone into all the spires and the archways. I love the kind of opened up ends to get like the dual track going in there. So you've got the station fly through and the actual station itself in there. Looks really nice. And the way that this kind of comes through the back of the buildings and dips down through the pathwork is really nice. I think the buildings at the back, the way you've done that wall there in the background so that you can do a facade, and it's quite clever actually, to be honest, that you've done that. So then you don't have to build a full building, and obviously the map space wouldn't have allowed you to do a full building there. This building here on the corner has to be my favorite. I think it looks really, really great. I love the color tones. The roof work on there is amazing as well. The different shades of tiles. These look kind of type of details I really love. The support works nice. I like the use of the custom scenery piece there that you have on the actual lift hill and drop. I used it as well, and then I thought it was a non-public piece of scenery. Obviously it is public, and I actually deleted mine and rebuilt it by hand. I'll get into that when we look at my map, but yeah, obviously it's a public piece. It looks great, so I love the use of that. This little church building at the back as well, absolutely fantastic. It's phenomenal building skills here that are being demonstrated, and all the little kind of, I like the angles and positions of everything as well. The composition is fantastic as well. So you've done a fantastic job. Just have a little look here at nighttime. So we've got some really cool, nice, warm lanterns here, kind of lighting up the pathwork around the little village area, which is really nice. Then obviously as the coaster kind of breaks out more into the wilderness, it's not as lit up, which is fine. I just think the lighting's very pretty, very nicely done. Maybe some like spotlights on the coaster would have been nice, or maybe on the water feature there at the back, the waterfall and everything, some blue lights or something just to really enhance it. Would have been cool. But I think this was an absolutely fantastic map. I think you did a great job. Like, it's just really amazing work, and it's really nice to see what you can actually do within Parkitect. So thank you for sending that one in to me. So that leaves us then with the winner of September 2022. In at first place is ASTROTRON's T-Rex Canyon. I just thought this was just really great. ASTROTRON doing what ASTROTRON does best, and that is this rock style. And obviously we had two maps very similar. I did think this one was the better one out of the two in terms of some of the details, but I really loved this one with the terms of the layout of the rocks, the way it kind of hugged the coaster, some of the details that are within that you can't maybe see straight away, and the custom supporting it as well was really fantastic on this one. On some of the areas, you did a fantastic job there at putting this one together, and it looks really, really cool in true ASTROTRON style as well, which is really nice to see. You definitely have your own building style. A lot of builders do, and when you build something, you can see it's made by you, which is really nice to see. And I just like some of the kind of choices you made with this one. So first of all, we got the dive loop. Like I said, was probably like the hardest part of this map to do something with, and I thought you tackled it the best with the way that you supported that. So that was really nice. Then of course, this is like a archaeology kind of dig, that kind of vibe going on. So we've got some dinosaur bones and that being discovered within the dirt, that kind of thing. And then we got this really cool little station building here as well, with some souvenirs, that kind of thing. So it's more of like a touristy kind of destination along the side of a road with this really cool RMC coaster. You got dino gifts there, you got the T-Rex Canyon coaster itself. It was quite hard for me to pick between this one and the one that was in second place, and the reason I chose this one was I just felt like the whole map was really kind of put together and thought about in every single area with some of the theming and the details. The other map had some fantastic buildings and some fantastic theming, but there was a lot of spaces in between it that was kind of just done with foliage to kind of fill in the gaps, whereas this one really, you know, had all this rock work put together, which I considered to be a part of the theming. And the way that the rock work here has been put together and the way it's been done is just really, really cool. Got some cool lighting here. It's definitely like you're on a tourist trip, and you got those spotlights lighting up all the rock work and everything, so that's really, really nice. Yeah, this was just a great little map. I thought it was really well put together, very charming. Again, personal preference, maybe you preferred one of the other maps, but this one for me was my favorite this month. So thank you for sending that one in. This is my version. This was Twisted Ripsaw, definitely a theme I've definitely repeated from something before, but this was basically my go at doing like an RMC style coaster that maybe you'd find in real life. At the time of building this, I'd actually just ridden Wildfire at Kolmården in Sweden, and that was a big influence on me with building this one. I really wanted to make it look like the terrain was there first and the coaster came second. So my focus here was the foliage and the actual terrain work, the rock work, and I really wanted to make it look really natural, so that's kind of what I went with. I did try and add in some custom supports. Now, like I said back along, I did actually use a piece of support scenery that I believed was public when I used it, and then I actually thought it maybe wasn't public because you can only use public mods. So I actually deleted it and rebuilt it by hand. And so in this video, there's actually quite a lot of pieces missing, unfortunately, which is not a big deal. You can kind of see what I was going for, but this isn't the complete map that I actually built. There are some things missing there. The actual support structure on the lift there was completely made by hand out of pieces using rotation anarchy or freedom 2k, or whichever one of those you used. And so some of the other supports in there that I maybe missed that were from the mod that I decided not to use are unfortunately missing, so you can't get the full kind of you can't get the full effect there of what I did with the custom supporting. But everything else in there is there, like the queue line and like all the little bits of scenery that I did, and obviously the station building itself as well. I definitely ripped off the theme from Wildfire, and I actually built a RMC coaster back along called Buzzsaw, which used exactly the same theme. So it was nothing original from me, and like I said, I was kind of struggling with time and stuff, especially with what's going on at the moment with me and moving house, etc. So I threw this together, and I did have a bit of time here and there while I was doing it, so I really focused on the rock work and stuff. But it's definitely not one of the best things I've ever done or anything like that, so I'm not super proud of it, but it is not too bad. I did go for some lighting here, again, warm lighting there, again on the path work, and I tried to light up some of the areas that are kind of more in the wooded areas with some deep red lighting to kind of make it a little bit more dramatic. But yeah, that was my map. If you want to take part in the challenge currently that's going on for this month, there is a, over on the Parkitect Depot website, there is a challenge there which is the disco mod, which is the Zamperla Disco. It'd be really cool if you could take part over there. There is a submission form for that. But thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time here on my channel for another video. Bye bye.